Yo, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I wasn't open that mouth. Sure that she's talking and open that mouth. If it says something, we open it out. And then it's something it out. And then it's got and it's part of this nothing.
And now from an undisclosed location, you are now tuned in to the Xander Effect with host Xander Dames.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Xander Effect. I'm your host, Xander Dames. I got a couple of amazing people here with me. Well, at least one of the two. First off, let's start with our wonderful co-hostess, Miss Lonni Rivera. Lonni, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Xander and Jeremy? Great to be here.
I hear your Patriots or your Patriots. Your Steelers are doing fantastic.
Yeah, Patriots. Steelers.
Sorry. They both have the word P at front of it. You know, Pittsburgh, Patriots. They're both P. So that's really cool. And of course, we have this other guy right here. You know, Jeremy Miller. You know, hi, Jeremy.
You love me and you know it. Hi, Lonni. How you doing?
Hi, Jeremy.
I always have to go ahead and give you a little bit of crap here and there, Jeremy. You know,
if you didn't, I wouldn't know you loved me anymore.
Exactly. It's all love. How are you guys doing this beautiful Monday? I mean, it's freaking cold over here in Southern California. The winds are picking up. Santa Ana's going crazy. How's it going over there in Pittsburgh?
Hey, I'm like happy that the seasons are changing. I'm here in Pittsburgh. If you're cold and 67 degrees, I woke up to like 45, close to 50 this morning. But to me, it wasn't cold. I just went downstairs, got some coffee, and I'm good.
See, that's the thing that always kind of like irks me every time we have people from like different states that come over here, and they're always like 67 degrees and you're cold. Oh my God, you're such a wimp and blah blah blah. And it's like, dude, we weren't born and raised in Antarctica, okay?
Right.
We were born and raised in a freaking tropical weather, all right? We don't like cold over here. And if it gets freaking 67 degrees, that's enough for us to be freezing our butts off. I mean, that's just what I think. That's just my opinion. I mean, Jeremy, you're also from here. You're born and raised here. I mean, you know, am I wrong about that?
In general, no. You know, the blood definitely gets a little thinner when you're living in a warmer area. But I run hot. You know that. I got a thermostat issue anyway, so this weather to me is just heaven. I mean, I'm the guy walking around in, 55-degree weather in shorts and sandals. Yeah. So I'm a little weird for California, but
but you know what? I also run around in shorts and sandals, so you already know that. Like that's what we have a lot in common in that aspect as well. And to be honest, but even in this cold weather, my feet freaking start freezing, so I can't even wear sandals. So you're a lot more, weirder than I am in that.
Like I said, man, my thermostat's just off. I mean, my fiance Joni has pictures of me playing in the snow with my boys in in sandals. So I'm just a little weird that way, but
Dude, you're going to remind me of Adam Sandler and Mr. Deeds with that black foot. Like, seriously, that's what comes to mind when you say, oh, I'm in sandals. Yeah, because you have that black foot, that frostbite foot or whatever. Sorry, I just got done watching Mr. Deeds this weekend. So.
Gotta love Adam Sandler. Gotta love him.
I did notice something about Adam Sandler in all his movies and all his romantic comedies. His leading lady is always that girl next door look. He always gets these girl next doors types. I mean, it started with Drew Barrymore. I mean, it continued on with Winona Ryder. Then you had in
Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah. I mean, you always have these girls. They're still drop dead gorgeous, all of them. But they're not like I don't know, like superficial hot. They're more very natural hot. They're very naturally beautiful, like I said, girl next door types, and he always has that that pattern about him that he always chooses that type of woman every time, so I don't know. I mean, I think he's got great taste in leading ladies, but that's just what I'm thinking. That's just my opinion. Anyways, we got a lot of stuff to talk about in entertainment news today. Including in the first topic is Michael B. Jordan is reportedly set to direct Creed 3. So we'll talk a little bit about that. In sports, Odell Beckham Jr. is officially on the bench for the rest of the season after suffering a torn ACL. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And in video game news, Pokemon has has a Sword and Shield's legendary bird. Actually, birds, I should say, that will be roaming like Gold and Silver's legendary dogs. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But first, got brand new music from Analise Hoveyda. Here is Crazy Love, right here on the Xander Effect.
You are now listening to the Xander Effect world premiere.
You're my favorite problem. I feel like I'm falling. Bye-bye, a whip to my conscience. Whenever my body needs one kiss, I'm over the limit. Your lips know all my secrets. I'm in, too deep to quit this. Even if I know I need to. Up and above, my hand down. I think I like it. I'm giving up, it's going down. There's no use trying. You keep me up at night, I still feel like I'm dreaming. You make me in the love, but different kind of feeling. If I'm going on my mind, at least I know the reason. Cause I got crazy love for you. Crazy love, crazy love, crazy love for you. Crazy love, crazy love, crazy love for you. Colors like I never seen them. In your eyes, they're my weakness. Part one, but I'ma keep reading. Find out where this is going. Too far, but we're getting closer. So gone, but right in the moment. Our hearts play with emotion. Pull my strings and I know it. Up and above, my hand down. I think I like it. I'm giving up, it's going down. There's no use trying. You keep me up at night, I still feel like I'm dreaming. You make me in the love, but different kind of feeling. If I'm going on my mind, at least I know the reason. Cause I got crazy love for you. Crazy love, crazy love, 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 crazy love for you. Feeling. If I'm going on my mind, at least I know the reason. Cause I got crazy love for you. Crazy love, crazy love, 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 crazy love for you.
This is Jackie Lastra, the voice of Aset, you bet! From The Somnium Files, and you're listening to The Xander Effect. This'll be on the beat.
Kato, you way too dope, kid.
Trying his best to keep his head up, but he's fed up. Trying not to lose his mind. You show him love and then they cross you every time. No wonder why he's like this. They took his love, now them drugs got him like this. No wonder why he's like this. Ain't got no more to give, now he's heartless.
Kato, you way too dope, kid.
Let them pills talking to him, he depressed. When he can't get them, he be breaking out in sweats. I hate to see my nigga go out like that, no. And not like that, no. He's trying, but he's so sick of fighting, yeah. Should've got down on his knees and prayed. Said he went the other way. Trying his best to keep his head up, but he's fed up. Trying not to lose his mind. You show him love and then they cross you every time. No wonder why he's like this. They took his love, now them drugs got him like this. No wonder why he's like this. Ain't got no more to give, now he's heartless.
That was Marquiese McClendon's Heartless, right here on the Xander Effect. In entertainment news, looks like Michael B. Jordan is going to go ahead and direct, or is set to direct Creed 3. It's going to be the third installment of the series, which, again, he's going to be reprising his role as Adonis, quote, Donnie Johnson Creed. And, I got to say that I'm actually excited to see how he does as a director. I think this is, I believe this is his directorial debut, really. And I don't think he's really directed any other films, really, besides this one. And, it's really cool to see him, direct. It's going to be even more interesting to see exactly how he takes such an iconic franchise, because Creed, of course, is part of the Rocky franchise,
right?
And we all know, Sylvester Stallone. He wrote it. He created these characters. He created everything. So it's going to be interesting to see how Michael B. Jordan is going to approach this new endeavor.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I mean, when you think about it, Sylvester Stallone, with the whole Rocky franchise, he directed it as well. So I remember when the first Creed came out, Michael B. Jordan, I want to say, didn't Sylvester Stallone kind of mentor him?
Yeah. A little bit.
So it would make sense that, while he was learning all he could and learning the ropes, that he would want to move on and grow. We've talked about this before, the days of just being an actor are over. If you want to have longevity, you need to be able to produce, direct, write, and be in front of the camera.
Yeah, that's very true, and I mean, I think Jeremy could attest to that too. I mean, Jeremy, you're in the industry. You've been in the industry, for many years, so you know a lot about the ins and outs of this.
Yeah, I always love seeing anybody move from behind the in front of the camera to behind the camera, and still and kind of growing their passion that way. I really look forward to seeing what Michael B. Jordan does with this. But here's one of my issues with it. Creed was a great film, and I loved the concept of kind of taking this franchise, these characters that we had learned to love and care about for so long, and moving it in a different direction. I was not as thrilled with the second one.
Really?
I felt that it lost a lot of what made the first one great, and it just worries me that that they're stretching it out again. I hope he knocks it out of the park, directing it and everything, but I'm not a big fan of sequels for the sake of sequels. So I hope they have a great script to work with, and he's got some really good material to work with. Like I said, me being the wet blanket that I am, I love the originals most of the time, and it's very rare that I am impressed with the sequel. So, I
mean, I was actually what I enjoyed about Creed 2 was mainly it kind of closing the book on Ivan Drago. That's one of the reasons why I like Creed 2. I like the fact that they brought them back, the original characters. They brought Brigitte Nielsen back. They brought the actor that played Ivan Drago. His name escapes me. Jeremy, help me out here.
Dolph Lundgren.
Thank you. Thank you. Dolph Lundgren. I mean, it was amazing that they brought them back to kind of do a continuation of the next generation of Ivan Drago. So I was actually I enjoyed it for that reason. And it was kind of Adonis Creed's way of also getting revenge in a sense for his father's death at the hands of Ivan Drago Sr. And then Ivan Drago's son. Well, his name wasn't Ivan Drago, but his son comes up and he gets defeated by Adonis Creed. The way Apollo was supposed to go ahead and defeat Ivan. So in a sense, it's closure. It was a sense of closure for that whole situation. I'm curious to see where the story is going to be for part 3. Are they going to bring back another old character? Are they going to bring back Mr. T? Because that was another big rival that Rocky had during that franchise. So are they going to be bringing him back as well? To go ahead and reprise his role. Maybe his son is the next one up that's going to go ahead and give Apollo some trouble, or are they going a completely different direction and just implement a new character and kind of let the old ones go already? So it's going to be interesting to see where exactly they're going to go with this concept. I'm personally curious to see where it's going to go, and we just have to wait. Right now, other than the fact that Michael B. Jordan will be directing Creed 3, there is no other information in regards to the storyline, where it's going to go or anything like that, or when shooting is going to begin. And yes, actually, it is actually confirmed that this will be Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut, actually. So that's going to be interesting, because these are some pretty big shoes to fill at this point. I mean, the Rocky franchise is a pretty big deal. We're just going to have to go ahead and see exactly how the movie comes out and how Michael B. Jordan's vision is going to be accepted by the critics and the public. We'll see what happens.
I think it's really cool. Fellas, that you guys are talking about very important industry stuff. But can I just throw this out there? Michael B. Jordan's body, for the ladies, we'll be happy to know it's coming back. let me tell you, that man, I mean, from Black Panther to, Creed, he brings it. And that body is banging. So just the fact that we know that there's going to be another one coming out and we get to see that body on the big screen, I tell you, I'm a happy girl, and I know a lot of my girlfriends are happy girls.
Yeah, I kind of figured you ladies wouldn't go see the movie for the movie. So I mean, that kind of brought that one out there. He's a good-looking guy. I'm not going to even deny that. He's a very good-looking guy. So and he's got a great talent. I mean, he definitely offers a lot to both sexes. He offers good talent as far as the guys are concerned. He offers the eye candy for the ladies, I guess. What you're telling me. So it's pretty cool. But like I said, we're gonna have to go ahead and see exactly how he does as a director now behind the camera, and see where it goes from there. In other entertainment news, Sasha Obama is trending on Twitter because of a video that she posted that she was lip syncing to Moneybagg Yo's quote "said some," and it's a remix featuring the City Girls. So she's on Twitter, and apparently she's catching some shade right now from a lot of Twitter followers. Basically, they're kind of shocked that such a prim and proper young lady is lip syncing to such offensive material. Ooh, and she's actually rapping with a friend of hers in college, I guess it's a college friend of hers. I don't know. And she's. Here's my take on this, okay? Presidents are not saints.
Right.
Bottom line, they're human beings like the rest of us, and so are their families. Newsflash: right. We're all human. We all go ahead and have our own taste in music, our own style in speaking. Just because the FCC regulates, non-offensive language and things like that, doesn't mean we don't cuss like sailors behind the cameras or off the mics, or anything like that. Come on now. I mean, this is BS. Yes. So, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense for anybody to go ahead and give a 19-year-old former first daughter any crap because she's lip syncing to some, illicit material. I mean, who cares? I mean, the girl's having fun. She's in college. She's enjoying herself. I mean, this is just totally bogus that people go ahead and try to go ahead and say, well, she's not supposed to do that. She's supposed to be prim and proper, not listening to that type of music. Get a life, all right? Get over it, okay? We all listen to that type of music. I mean, we're not all saints. We sin like a mofo around here. Especially politicians, let me tell you. So, I mean, don't give this young girl who's not even a politician any crap just because she's lip syncing to a song that has a lot of explicit material in it.
Yeah, I just think, we live in a very judgmental culture these days. And it makes me think back to the days when I lived in Austin, Texas, during the time when the Bush girls, when their dad was governor. Yeah. And I remember, I want to say Jenna, one of them, and I've always thought the Bush girls were cool, was going in college. I think she's going to University of Texas, if I can recall. I'm not sure. And I remember one of them got in trouble for something. Mm-hmm. And everybody in the media just jumped all over it because she was the governor's daughter. And it was and then it followed them when their dad became president. And I really appreciated the fact that when the Obamas were touring the White House before they moved in, the Bush girls reached out to the Obama girls and showed them kind of the fun stuff about the White House so that they could feel as though they could feel at home there, because they knew outside of the White House, all the scrutiny and the new life and not being able to go anywhere without Secret Service and all that would be their new world. So having said that, these girls are teenagers. They want to have fun. They're going to make mistakes. So what if they like music that is, has swear words in there? Or they want to have fun. She's 19. Give me a break.
Agreed. And I think this is so stupid.
It's ridiculous.
To do that. I mean, Jeremy, I mean, you're a former child actor. When you got older and you were cussing like a sailor, or even cussing as a sailor when you were a teenager, I mean, how much crap did you get? Oh my God, little Ben Seaver, he said the cuss word. What? I mean, did you ever get stuff like that?
Weird enough, I really didn't get anything like that. There's never much blowback. I did a few films that were probably very opposite character from, little Ben Seaver and all the wholesome stuff I had done, but there was really no flack for that. I mean, I saw plenty of ridicule and bullying and all that kind of stuff. For other things, people are always going to try and, if people want to be jerks, they're going to be jerks. They'll find something to be, to be pricks about. But politicians' kids being held to those standards is beyond ridiculously insane. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's not like these children are being groomed to be the next president or do you really think, after watching what their parents went through, any of these people really want to go into politics?
Right.
I have not seen Chelsea Clinton freaking run for politics at all.
You just don't see it. You really don't. It's rare that you see kids of politicians, people who were actual children or young adults, in watching their parents go through this, the ridicule, the daily scrutiny, the daily stress. They were there to see the physical tolls that this job took on their parents, so on and so forth. I mean, there's not a lot who look at that and go, oh, that's what I want to do. So,
except George Bush Jr.
Well, even then, George Bush Jr., you're talking about a guy who was not a kid when his dad was doing this stuff. Much, much older, had already established himself in business and wanting to live up to a legacy and all these other things. These were kids. I mean, Chelsea Clinton grew up in the White House. The Obama girls grew up in the White House. The Bush girls basically grew up in the White House. I mean, it's a very... it's a different perspective.
It's almost like PTSD in a sense for children that grew up in that environment.
I'd say so. I mean, that is not a normal environment. I thought I grew up in an abnormal environment,
right?
But those poor kids. I mean, that's a really tough way to grow up.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's crazy for anybody to go ahead and judge any of these kids afterward or during. I mean, they're kids. They're trying to just, make sense of everything that's going on around them, even before, during, and even after their parents have finished their terms in office. And for anybody to go ahead and expect these kids to be saints, well, really?
Let's walk this back a second here, okay? This is a 19-year-old kid in college.
Right.
This was not a video of her bending over a mirror doing lines. This was not a picture, I mean, we've had athletes, musicians, actors, politicians, kids. We've had pictures of them doing bong hits. She's lip syncing a song, people, whether you like it or not. Get a life. Seriously.
Thank you.
I mean, I know the stuff I was doing at 19 years old in college. Okay. Right. If we had the cell phones and everything else, people would have been in for quite a shock at what little Ben was up to. That is.
See, now you got me curious. Now you're opening that door and you're getting me curious to go ahead and see what's behind that door now.
Go buy the book and you'll find out.
Oh, I'm first one in line. Are you kidding me? But no, you're totally right. I mean, it's a scrutiny that unfortunately many of these former first children have to endure, and it's time for just like we're evolving in politics, we're evolving as a society. People need to evolve in that aspect as well. It's like, dude, you know what? Don't think that these kids are ever going to be saints. They're going to be kids. They're going to enjoy their life. I mean, What were you doing at 20? I mean, what were you doing at 19? You were enjoying your life. You made mistakes like anybody else. You learned from them, and you hope that you don't repeat them. That's what you do when you're at 19. You're enjoying yourself. You're learning new experiences. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense for people to be casting stones to this poor girl, and being like, oh my God, you're an Obama. You can't say, dude, who cares? First of all, Obama's not even president anymore, and secondly, get over it. Like Jeremy said, get a life. Please. I mean, it's crazy, but that's what's going on right now. That's what's trending apparently in Twitter because nobody else has anything better to do. So yeah, that's pretty much our opinion, our take on that. In other entertainment news, this one's a doozy. Kanye West tells Joe Rogan his ideas to run for president came in the shower, and God put it in my heart. That was a very interesting episode of the Joe Rogan Experience. I watched half of it because the rest I wanted to shoot myself. Bottom line is that Kanye, and Joe Rogan was just enabling everything that Kanye was saying, and it's one of those things where Joe Rogan's like, I'm pretty crazy myself, but I mean, I don't think that what you're doing is crazy. I think that you're just a visionary. I think that this. I mean, he just kept on egging him on, and I don't know if maybe Joe was doing this to see what else Kanye was gonna say for entertainment purposes. But boy, was it working, because Kanye was just feeding off of everything he was saying. He went ahead. There's a couple of quotes that he went ahead and said. He said, quote, like, for example, when it came to run for office, he said, quote, "It was something that God put in my heart back in 2015, a few days before the MTV Awards. It hit me in the shower. When I first thought of it, I started laughing to myself. All this joy came over my body, just through my soul. I felt that energy. I felt that spirit." So that was why he decided to run. He continued to say, quote, "I believe that my calling is to be the leader of the free world." Yeah. He continued on to say, quote, "There couldn't be a better time to put a visionary in the captain's chair. I'm not here to down Trump or down Biden. I'm just here to express why God has called me to take this position. I'm a great leader because I listen and I'm empathetic. I do believe in world peace." Now, it's interesting that he said, "I do believe in world peace," because when Joe, and this is actually trending on Instagram too, when Joe asked him, what if there's a conflict with all these, nations, with Syria, with Korea and all these other countries, what if there's a conflict that happens, Korea, Russia, all this stuff, how would you go ahead and deal with that? And he literally had nothing to say. He couldn't answer that question. And it's like, dude, you seriously don't even try. I mean, I personally, I was just like, I cannot believe that you are actually even thinking about this. You don't know what you wouldn't know what to do. You wouldn't know what to do in that office. You really wouldn't. I mean, you're thinking about the way he talked about restructuring religion, restructuring society, the way people think, restructuring all these different types of things. It's like, dude, you're not God. Okay, you can't go ahead and redo the planet. You really can't. So, just do what you can with the popularity you have, and do the best that you can to try to help your own community. That's something that could actually work, and that's something that people will go ahead and look for. Don't try to just go ahead and jump from from junior high all the way to senior year in one day. You can't do that. You have to go through the other grades first before you get to become a senior. You have to learn everything first. Yeah. And that's the other thing that Joe actually touched on was, well, many people believe that you should become a governor first to try to get your, or hold another office first before you get to the big chair, because that way you gain more experience. I wholeheartely agree with that, because seriously, I mean, when it comes, and I actually told my dad this a few times, when it comes to holding the office of the President of the United States, you need to know how to deal with like real big issues, not just community issues, but big issues. But at least if you start off in a small office, if you start off with being a mayor of your town, right, governor, then maybe take a Senate seat, you start learning policies, you start learning budgets, you start learning these different types of important things that the rest of the nation needs you to know in order to run a good office. That's what you need to learn. Now, as far as world issues go, that right there, you have to learn, by being president or in a Senate seat as well. You get to deal with a lot of, leaders of different nations, and get to deal with them, understand diplomacy, things like that, in order to understand how to create a give and take relationship with these other nations, with these other world leaders. So you can't just jump. You just can't jump like that. You have to learn how to crawl before you learn how to walk. And to be honest, it was that entire podcast. I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. Why? That's just what kept on going through my head. I mean, Lonni, what do you think?
Yeah, Kanye, you can see that I'm kind of silent over here. From what I heard, normally I am when it comes to Kanye. Which, by the way, his old music back in the day, I liked so much more than now. Like when he first came out, I'll just go back to the art. I mean, I give the brother credit for believing in himself. I give him that, because Kanye loves Kanye.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So in that sense, I give him credit. But some of the stuff he says sometimes, I'm still stuck on the Black people create, what was the, and I don't want to misquote him.
Oh yeah, no, when he
slavery
said
was our choice.
Well, it's funny that you say that because Joe Rogan actually goes ahead and touches on that specific quote.
And what did he say?
Well, Joe Rogan was basically, okay, so he tried to clarify it and Kanye agreed with him. He's like, it seems that you were misquoted, that they used your words out of context. What you meant is basically people being slaves to their own like reality, I guess,
reality,
or to jobs, or to their own to the music industry being slaves. He was mainly talking about the music industry and how they're slaves to their own contracts and things like that. So according to Kanye, his words were taken out of context in that particular instance. But I mean, when he said it, because I saw it on TMZ.
I remember.
He didn't mention anything about the music industry. Like that. I didn't see anything about that. So I mean, like Kanye agreed with what Joe Rogan was saying, but did he agree because now he's quote running for office, or did he agree so that way people don't think he's crazy for saying what he said?
Right.
Or because he did it, or did he agree because he actually agreed? You know.
Maybe. All I have to say on the whole running for office thing, I stand with Jennifer Aniston in what she said about Kanye running for office and people voting for him. I mean, you know, I just don't agree with it. I don't. Not right now, dude. You know what I mean? Like, learn the ropes. Do something else. Make a difference. Make a difference in another way. If you really, really care about what's going on in the country and in the world, you can make a difference in other ways.
Agreed. I mean, Jeremy, you're awfully quiet over there.
I'm biting my tongue.
Oh, please. Please. I love hearing the things you have to say, especially when it comes to this particular subject, because I know your brain is going like, ah!
Oh, it is, believe me. But first of all, just to reference what Lonni said, you know, it's really true in you need to get your feet wet. You don't jump into the deep end on day one. I'm not a big fan of any of these people, any random people, you know, who have no experience. Not to put too fine a point on it, but we've now had a very good look at what happens when someone with no policy experience and no clue what they're doing gets into office. On top of that, there are other similarities. Like a certain very well-known person right now, Kanye has no filter. Something comes into his mind and he says it, and then he spends the next month trying to backtrack and make it sound okay. You know, and that's very similar to what's going on in a very high office right now. I mean, you know, there's no filter in between. The brain, I mean, as you said, in that quote, he wants to claim now he was misquoted. Well, you can watch the entire quote when he's talking and he doesn't mention anything else. He doesn't direct the question any other way. If that's what you meant, why didn't you say that?
Right.
And the thing is the other thing that, I mean, because you brought up another point about somebody that has no experience. Joe Rogan also brought up former President Ronald Reagan. And Kanye's agreed. He's like, yeah, if Ronald could do it, you know, I mean, why not? But then Joe also said, he's like, yeah, but Ronald was also governor first.
Exactly.
He held a position first in office and got his feet wet first before he went into the big office. So he had that experience.
And what a lot of people don't realize is that he was working on a local level, although no, he was never mayor. He was never anything like that. But he was working on a local level with local politicians and already involved long before he was California's governor.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. And that's the thing is that, in my opinion, I think that, yes, maybe not having a politician in office is maybe the like a career politician office maybe is not the best way to go because they're kind of out of touch. But at the same time, if it's somebody that's not a career politician, at least have the experience of some politics in your background in order for you to understand policies, because the first word of politics is POL. That also involves policies as well. Policies, politics, everything.
Well, and to bring it back to one thing that Lonni was saying, especially with the resources that Kanye West has at his availability, at his disposal. Right. You don't need to go into politics to make a difference. And the type of changes that he's talking about would actually be much more effectively implemented and done on a smaller level, on a local level, that's done by a non-political organization.
That's exactly what I said.
Let's just start with the amount of money that he brings in for the Yeezy brand, which I'm not really that big of a fan.
Oh, he was already talking about the fact of the matter that he's a billionaire. With that kind of money, come on, dude. You could do a lot
with all that money coming in, go down to Skid Row. I'm just throwing this out there. Not that you're obligated to do it, but the homeless situation in Los Angeles, right in your backyard, dude, it's just a crisis. It truly is. You drive downtown now with the pandemic happening. Oh my goodness. Drive downtown on any given day in LA, and it is almost like going through a third world country within the city of LA, the way that people are living and how they're surviving. I don't know what he's doing behind the scenes. I'm not saying that just because you have a lot of money that you're obligated to give, but there's an opportunity right there to make a difference. And I'm just going to throw that out there, just picking one thing, and there's so many other things, to make a difference if you want to.
You're absolutely right. I mean, that's exactly it. It's nobody's obligated to do so. But if you claim you are so passionate about this and you have to do this to change the world, there are much more effective ways at doing so. Right. This, to me, does not seem like it's real. Like I've said since the beginning, it just seems like another way to keep focus and attention on him.
Yep.
That and to take votes away. That's another theory that many people are throwing out.
Which is not cool.
Yeah, I mean that's that. Our voting system is already in question as it is, and a little bit of a chaotic, time right now. I mean, Jeremy, you experienced some of that chaos over the weekend as well. So so it's already bad as it is. Throwing something like that in there just to go ahead and create more chaos is just not right. We need structure. And the other thing too that I also want to throw in there is the fact of the matter that you're a billionaire. Okay, you know how much money that could be used to go ahead and help restructure neighborhoods? There's something that my friend, I'm giving her a shout out, Carla Escobar. She actually said something that really hit home to me. And we're talking about what's going on with the voting, presidential elections, et cetera, and she's like, everybody's focused on the president. But what they need to be focused is local government, not federal. Because federal is one thing. Yes, we do want a president. We do want a president, and we do want to know who's going to be president, this, that, and the other. We do want all these things. But in actuality, local government are the ones that decide budgets for us here in our different states, she said. That's who we need to be focused on. That's who we need to actually go ahead and vote for or against, because they're the ones that are going to determine what's going to happen in the state that we live in. And that's something that we need to be focused more on rather than federal. And she made a good point about that, because yes, although the presidential elections are incredibly important and the president does make many decisions that affect all of us, at the end of the day, states are separate from federal. The states are separate. They make their own decisions. I mean, during the time of the pandemic, the states made their own decisions to close down. There was nothing the president could go ahead and do about that. He could go ahead and tell them not to, but they still made the last decision, the final say. And there's nothing the president could do about that. I mean, as far as, it's funny. Because when it comes to states, when the states need money, that's when they go to federal, to bail them out. But when it comes to decisions, the state's like, no, we'll decide this. It's a very interesting relationship that states and federal have. But I mean, that's a good point. I mean, Kanye needs to mainly focus on the state where he lives, California, or the state that he was from, which is what, Chicago, I think it was.
Chicago.
I mean, he needs to focus on. He needs to focus on these places, that he's, that he was raised in, born in, the places that made his career, etc. Check out your local neighborhoods that need maybe a school that needs a new building or needs restructuring or needs, new books, materials, things like that. Roads that need to be repaved. Go to your local government and say, hey, I want to donate this so that way you could go ahead and fix these roads. I mean, there's just so many things that could be fixed.
Let me throw this out there. LeBron James is a excellent example of this. Okay, this is a man who started working in his communities that he grew up in the communities that were around the team that he played for. He started education programs. He started a charter school program. These are the things he did that are having a lasting impact on the communities around him. This is somebody who actually made change. He did not do it through policy, through office, through anything. And it's a cliche and it's been said forever, but you think globally, you act locally.
It's true.
If you want to create change, if you want to affect real change, you start with what is around you.
And to add to your point, Jeremy, because of what we know and what I know about LeBron James and how active he's been over the years in his community, when I see him post something, making a social statement about something going on Twitter, which we see from here, I listen a bit more because to me, he speaks with credibility.
That's a really good point.
True.
When I listen a little bit more than I would your average celebrity, maybe giving an opinion or going on a rant about something. I'll listen to LeBron because LeBron walks the walk and talks the talk. Just throw it out there.
That's very true. That's very true. And that's why a lot of people respect them. They respect them for that. And I mean, Kobe Bryant was another one too. Kobe Bryant was another one that also did a lot for Los Angelinos. That's why when he passed, he was like, it was devastating to all of us because he did so much, not just for the sport, but just so much for the community as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they really put their hands in there and they really helped out as much as possible. And I think that's why LeBron also is trying to live up to that as well, because Kobe was his mentor. And LeBron's trying to be that, that type of person where he does things to go ahead and help people out the way Kobe did. He's trying to continue that legacy that Kobe left behind. So, I mean, but like him, so many other celebrities, so many other people could do so much, and they do. There's a lot of celebrities that do a lot for their local communities to kind of give back for all the love that they've received. And what Kanye's trying to do, it's like, dude, it doesn't sound like you care too much about the community. It sounds more like you care about just being in power. But here's the funny thing about that is that even the president doesn't have full power. He doesn't have the full authority to do anything he wants to do willy-nilly. There are channels he has to go through first. There's politics he has to go ahead and go through first. Barriers he has to break first in order to even get his policies heard. So if you think for 1 second that if you're going to go ahead and become president, you're going to go ahead and do whatever you want, this is not a dictatorship. This is a democracy. You have to go through the channels first before you could go ahead and do any of your make any of your ideas a reality. It's just that simple. And that's what many people don't understand. It's like, dude, you do realize that even when you're in power, you're not really the one in power. I mean, you have to go through the Senate, you have to go through the House, you have to go through a lot of people before you can actually get anything done. And that's something that many people don't seem to understand when they try to go ahead and run for that office. So it was a very, again, going back, it was a very interesting interview to say the least. And I was just like, oh my God, this is just too much for me. But yeah, you can go ahead and check out the Joe Rogan Experience, that episode with Kanye West. It's on YouTube. Go ahead and, don't have to take my word for it. Go ahead and check it out for yourself. And trust me when I say you're going to be like, what in the F is going on here? Coming up next in sports, Odell Beckham confirms that he's got a torn ACL and he's going to be out for the season. We'll talk a little bit about that. But first, here is Dovley's Be About It right here on the Xander Effect.
Could be, and day by day you wait for some change to leave. And you know if you came to me, I'd say the truth. You know if you came to me, there's no excuse, I'd refuse. I'm hoping that I will live to see it. Say that you're thinking about it, stop thinking about it, be about it. You're saying that you really believe it.
Xander Effect, so you better respect my authority.
Yeah, I did it. I know it hurts so bad, but baby, I admit it. It wasn't something I wanted to do just to hurt you or desert you or make you feel like I don't love you. I know you're living in a prison of pain that caused you're afflicted. Emotions so hard to tame and you're conflicted. But I won't hurt you or desert you no more. No looking back. We can live in the shadows. We won't survive if our love is shallow. Let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. No looking back. No looking back.
That was Dose, No Looking Back, right here on the Xander Effect. In sports, looks like the Browns cannot catch a break this season as Odell Beckham Jr. confirms that he has a torn ACL and he's going to be out for the season. This happened over this weekend, actually. It was a pretty crazy game that he had, and it was actually a crosstown rivalry, Cleveland Browns versus Cincinnati Bengals, and apparently there was a play that ended up costing Odell Beckham the season. This is going to be tough for Browns fans and for the Browns team because Odell was pretty much their star. That's going to be tough on them. But I mean, this entire weekend was flooded with injuries. I mean, with big injuries and very and crazy disappointments. Another injury was QB's backup Dalton. He got hit really hard, and it was a questionable hit actually that happened with him. And many people are saying that it was an illegal hit. Many people said that it was actually legal because a lot of people are saying that Dalton actually got out of the pocket and became an active runner. So once that happens, it's pretty much a free for all to bring him down. But many people are saying that he wasn't an active runner, that he was still a quarterback at the time that he got hit. So it's a controversy right now that many people are talking about because now Dallas has to go ahead and bring in their third string quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, they're running out quarterbacks over in Dallas right now. I mean, Lonni, you pretty much had a couple things to say about that.
Yeah, I did. I heard a lot of people talking about it. Of course, over the weekend, I was pretty consumed just with the fact that my team, the Steelers, we are undefeated, 6-0. But I did watch, and I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I never want to see any player on any team hurt, in this way or taking a hit that looked questionable. So I watched it this morning in the replay, kind of in slow motion, Dalton. And, it just looked like he was doing the typical quarterback, trying to get a couple of yards and then sliding.
Quarterback scramble.
Right, just the scramble and then sliding, which they're taught to do to, kind of avoid being hurt. But when the Washington Redskins play. Was it Washington?
Yeah, it was Washington.
Washington
team. Well, they're not called the Redskins. They're Washington team.
They're not called the Redskins anymore. Yeah, when the Washington player Bostic, the linebacker, came at him, it looked, and it was really, really quick. It looked like that he really was going for the head and the helmet. And even one of his teammates was seen, on the sideline, like shaking his head in disapproval with the way that he tackled him. So, with that said, I just think that, it's unfortunate. And I do think that the other players should face a penalty because of it. And I think that he, should suffer the consequences. But it's just all around, it's just kind of sad when you think about it. Like, I'm not a big Browns fan. And, we actually have a rivalry with them. But to hear any player having a torn ACL and out for the season, it's just, it's disappointing to hear that.
And it's not easy to come back from that type of an injury either. I mean, Jeremy and I, we've spoken about this too, that players are never really the same when they get their torn ACL. They come back, they're a little bit, their confidence is a little bit shaken after that and everything.
Especially wide receivers.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been very few who've been able to come back from an ACL or even worse, the dreaded trinity of all three, ligaments. There's been very few. Jerry Rice was one of the only ones to do it, and the man had probably the greatest work ethic and determination that we've ever seen in the game. So it's really hard for a receiver who has to cut, who has to make quick stops, who has to have quick acceleration. If you can't depend on your knees, you got a real problem. And that confidence is the last thing to come back after that injury. So
I mean, you have Odell's teammate, Jarvis Landry, went ahead and offered some support. He said, quote, "Man, I know how effing hard you work and how invested you are to be legendary. My heart hurt. I love you, brother." So, I mean, you have his teammates that are backing him. They feel bad for what's going on. I mean, OBJ already was having a tough time as it was in New York, when he was playing for them. And then he got traded, and he thought this was going to be like pretty much a fresh new start, and it was for a while. It was a great start for him. He's doing well, but this right here definitely sidelines him for a little bit, and it's definitely gonna see. We're definitely gonna have to see how he does next season. So that's gonna be tough. I mean, it's definitely tough, but like I said, definitely a weekend of injuries and of disappointments because man. The Patriots getting destroyed. And
wait, who said that's a disappointment?
Well, hold on now.
That's not a disappointment for me. I'm happy.
Many people. Here's the thing that many people could go ahead and say that this is karma this is definitely karma, pretty much coming back to Bill Belichick and the Patriots, because man, they got demolished by San Francisco 30-6, I believe the final score was. Cam Newton getting picked off 3 different times, and then the backup quarterback gets picked off too. I mean, this is just horrible. This is embarrassing for the coach that many people call the GOAT, the greatest coach of all time, Bill Belichick. And you know Bill has zero tolerance for failure, especially a failure such a failure as big as this one. And I'm sure, and you guys have said this when we were off the air for a second, that right now Cam is fearful for his job, that he might actually end up losing it. So I mean, it's a crazy situation right now for Cam Newton. I mean, who knows? I was thinking the same thing too when I heard about it. I was like, oh man, Cam's about to be fired, because Bill does not accept failure. He doesn't dig on imperfections. I mean, he's the type of guy that wants to cement his legacy as the greatest coach that ever lived. And to have something like this type of failure in his record, this is something that he will be completely, this is unacceptable to him. And of course, he won't take the blame for it. He'll go ahead and blame the quarterback for screwing up so much. But at the same time, we also have to look at it as like, well, you chose the quarterback.
That's at the top. Absolutely. I mean, for Cam, you can leave and go to New England and play for a new team. But what it comes down to, and I didn't watch the whole game, this is just me giving my opinion. You don't have the right chemistry. If, you can have all the great players on a team and put them together. But if you don't have the right chemistry, and even the right chemistry with the coach, it's going to be hard.
Well, I mean, the other issue that I also mentioned to a buddy of mine, and I was like, they should have gotten Cam when he was brand new, when he was fresh. Cam has already been playing for a few seasons now. He's older. I mean, granted, maybe Bill wanted somebody that was familiar with the game, in the pros and everything, and didn't want somebody fresh out of college that he would have to go ahead and train and teach. But maybe that could have been a better option, or maybe get a fresher quarterback, someone that's only been playing for a couple of years, that he could go ahead and bring in there. I mean, he had Bill screwed up big time. He had Jimmy Garoppolo. He could have easily done a lot with Jimmy G, and Jimmy was like, he learned everything from playing for the Patriots. I mean, he was going places, but of course they had to go ahead and cater to Tom Brady and his salary and everything else, that they let go of a good player. And all for what? For Tom Brady to go ahead and leave in a couple of years anyway. Right. I mean, he left them high and dry. That, you completely screwed up by letting go of a great player of Jimmy Garoppolo's status. And that's the thing. This is poetic justice. Yep. You have the quarterback of San Francisco that you let go because of Tom Brady beat the ever-living snot out of you, and kind of throwing it in your face, be like, hey, this could have been me and you, but you wanted Brady. So there you go. I mean, that's karma for you.
Had to be thinking about it. There was some satisfaction for him.
Oh, totally. It was such a sweet victory for him. Are you kidding me? Dude, if I was him, I would have been like jumping, doing backflips, jumping for joy, enjoying every single solitary ounce of that win. That was the win that definitely, like, Jimmy was like, yep, that's right. I got my revenge back, buddy. So yeah, I mean, it was a tough weekend in that. I mean, again, Jeremy, you're awfully quiet over there.
Well, you brought it up with, they blew it letting Jimmy G go. I mean, that was a fact. Tom was already on the downside. I mean, still great, still amazing quarterback, but was already on the downside. You had a really top performing young quarterback that they could have built around, that a coach like Belichick could have formed one heck of a relationship with and maybe kept this dynasty going. But whether it was front office, because Kraft did have a major love for Tom Brady. You never know where the decisions finally came down from. I have a very dear friend who is a psychotic Patriots fan, and he went to Boston University and he kind of spent a lot of time there. So he ended up getting very, very into the Patriots long ago, and he enjoyed their run and, their run of dominance. But he said a few things back when all this was going on that he really thought that Kraft was pulling a lot of the strings, and that he believed Belichick would have parted with Brady at that point if Kraft would have let him.
And that's the thing, that he should have. He really should have. And I mean, who knows? They might have been able to actually get a couple of more Super Bowl rings out of Garoppolo had he stayed with them. I mean, he already knew the chemistry. He already had chemistry with his teammates. He already knew the plays. He knew everything about the Patriots. He knew everything. But it was just a stupid decision to go ahead and keep downhill going Tom Brady on that team. I mean, it's like, dude, give the new generation a shot, and let them stay there. Don't go ahead and cater to this guy who again left you anyway. He left. Right. He took off.
What an interesting set of circumstances, because Brady leaves. He's now with Tampa Bay, and now the other story this week, and we forgot to mention this, you guys. Antonio Brown looks like he's going to be going to Tampa Bay. I'm sorry. AB and Tom Brady together, back again.
Yeah, that's something that was supposed to happen. That was something that was supposed to happen to begin with, but AB screwed up.
They're a little older, a little wiser, and let's see if they can make something of it.
Yeah,
now again, wide receivers lose a step, man. Age catches them very, very quickly. AB is amazing, but again, he hasn't done much for a couple years. He's a couple years older now. I'm not sure if we're going to see the same player.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
I mean, there's also rumors too. There's also another rumor that's going around right now is that Julio Jones is rumored to be in talks with San Francisco. That's another rumor. I mean, but that's just a rumor at this point. Nobody really knows if he's actually going to go to San Francisco or if they're even really talking about that. But could you imagine if he left Matt Ryan high and dry like that? I mean, that's Matt Ryan's go-to guy right there is Julio Jones.
Well, you have to take something else into account there. If he's at that point and considering it, we've all seen what has happened with Matt Ryan the last 2 years and the kind of decline of his skills as age has caught up. Still a great quarterback, but we've all seen the decline has begun, especially when Jones is not in there. He's really his only safety valve, So if he's thinking of making a move like this, either he sees something in Matt that tells him he's not going to be there much longer, or Matt has given him some information as to, what may be going on in his mind. I think if Julio goes, I think we see Matt Ryan retire within 2 years.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's definitely getting to that point. I mean, like I said, and I said it in earlier episodes about how a lot of these QBs are starting to get to that point where they're about to retire. I mean, you have you have Drew Brees. That it's getting to that point as well. You have Ben Roethlisberger that's also getting to that point as well.
This might be it for Ben after this year. I was just thinking that the other day. It's kind of the last hurrah for the Steelers with him.
I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers too. That's also getting to that point too, where he's about to say goodbye to the sport as well. I mean, I think Rodgers is just hoping to get that last Super Bowl ring before he finally hangs up his cleats. So I mean, there's a lot of Tom Brady. I mean, he should, but who knows if he actually will. I mean, Tom Brady's still trying to hold on to something. I don't know what it is, but he's still trying to hold on for dear life. He's going to be like he's going to be like the NFL's Patrick Ewing, freaking 150 years old and still playing the game. So I mean, but yeah, I mean, you have a lot of these players a lot of these quarterbacks that are pretty much getting to that point where it's like, all right, it's time for us to say goodbye to the sport, move forward. We left our legacy, we left our stamp, time to move on. I mean, you have a lot of brand new quarterbacks. I mean, you still have Seattle's quarterback.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
He still has a few more years left in him. He's still like at that halfway point right now where he could still play, and he still has it. So he still has a little bit more to go. Russell Wilson, Jimmy Garoppolo, obviously he's got a huge career ahead of him. Patrick Mahomes, that goes without saying right there. You have Lamar Jackson, all these new QBs that are going to they're already stamping their legacy. I mean, Patrick Mahomes already stamped his legacy as one of the greatest quarterbacks of this generation right now.
And let's not forget the injured cowboy Dak. Dak Prescott was having one of the best years. Not even one of the best year of his career so far. Before he got injured, and there's so many great talented quarterbacks coming up right now. Kyler Murray in Arizona, and if you're a football fan, it's a great time, for offense with all these young guys coming up like this, because we're seeing it. Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, all the older, they're all starting to hit the end of that, that time frame, and it's time for the young bucks to step up, and they're doing it. So
it's going to be really cool to see the next couple of years in the NFL to see exactly what kind of evolution and shakeup goes on in the NFL. So we'll see about that. But switching lanes here, going from pro football to college football. Jeremy, you have a story that's actually creating that's very controversial right now, involving your alma mater, USC.
Yeah, there's a pretty big story going on. Not really a sports story, although it centers there. Wide receiver Munir McClendon, who is a wide receiver for USC, is actually being federally investigated by the National, Commerce Board or whatever, fraud division. USC players as well as coaches have been served with subpoenas to testify in a grand jury case. Wow. And when I first heard this, of course, I was like, oh God, what did he do now? There's always something at, USC, some player doing something stupid. And, so I immediately went to that.
With USC?
And then hey, it's everywhere, but it seems to happen right when things start to come together for us. I mean, we get somebody who does something completely idiotic.
Yeah, that is very true.
I mean, it's just like, what are you? I'm the biggest Trojan fan in the world, and I want to grab some of these guys and smack them. But then I started researching it more and reading more about it, and coming from the coaches, coming from him, even coming from people inside the school, he applied for pandemic relief unemployment benefits.
Wow.
He did it with a EDD director, which is, the California board that handles all of that. He actually did it with one of their own people. He did everything, provided them all the information. He followed all of the rules and believed he did it properly. But somehow he's now under a grand fraud investigation. Now, of course, more could come out and maybe something's being hidden. But what it looks like right now is a young man did what he was supposed to do, followed all the rules, applied for this, and is for some reason being singled out and treated like some mastermind criminal.
There's got to be more to the story than this.
You would think, but even, like I said, it's coming from everywhere now, that the people who've reviewed this, the coaches, everything else, are saying he did it right. What's going on?
That's strange. That's so weird, because I mean, if he truly needed assistance, relief, and everything, I mean, there shouldn't be an investigation. That's weird. That just sounds too. I don't know. There's got to be something more to the story than that. There's got to be something that they saw in his paperwork, or maybe in his financial background, something to have pretty much said, you know what, we need to check this person out a little bit.
Well, I hate to be that way, but you said it. In his background, we have a young black man from a very poor and disadvantaged neighborhood who comes from.
Where's he from?
He's from. Munir was a local kid.
Okay.
Him and his brothers grew up here, South Central, East LA area, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Those are areas that are gang populated. Those are crime ridden areas. They're whatever. I'm not saying that's it, but again, it is the situation, and this seems to have been flagged with a rather great degree of ferocity, and it doesn't seem to make sense right now on the surface. Now, again, more could be revealed. There could be, you never know, family dealings behind the scenes, whatever. But when I first heard about it, my first thought was, oh, this is going to be an NCAA issue. Because of the money he received or something. No, this isn't even an NCAA. The NCAA doesn't care. He followed the rules. He did what he was supposed to do. He was okay to get this assistance and relief. So it's a very confusing situation. And right now, all the people who know, generally speaking, a school distances itself from this kind of thing until all the facts are out.
Right.
They're not doing that right now. They're standing by this kid. So it's just a very weird situation going on right now, and so many people having applied. I mean, we have record numbers of people applying for unemployment all across the country, applying for pandemic relief, applying for all sorts of different stuff. There's been tons of fraud. So it is happening. But why is a young man, barely 19, 20 years old, being singled out like a, literally a criminal mastermind?
Wow. If you can, and there's more to the story, and you hear about it a little bit more of what's going on.
You know me, I'll be following it close.
Yeah, let us know what's going on with that, because
because I want to know, what was he doing? What was his job? What was his employment that he's collecting assistance from?
It seems like there's more questions than answers at this point now. With this
There's a lot more questions. The only thing I did hear about that, it was just one sentence in the article that I read, was that while they were not playing and they were out of school, he might have had one of the gig jobs, like driving job, Uber, Lyft, something like that. But again, they didn't get into detail on it. So there's going to be a lot more information forthcoming, unless for some reason it gets sealed. So we'll see. But it's a very weird situation. It seems very out of the ordinary for such a young kid with no real criminal background to be singled out like this.
Well, I guess we'll go ahead and see and find out what happens next in this whole situation. So, keep us apprised on that. In other sports news, Khabib Nurmagomedov says goodbye to the sport of MMA after defeating Justin Gaethje for the UFC lightweight title via submission, and he retires 29-0. I mean, the guy is the greatest of all time, and he after the fight, he broke down in tears. It was actually a surprise announcement that many people, not even Dana White, expected. Dana White had plans for Khabib to fight other fighters. I mean, he went ahead in the post-fight conference, and actually one of the reporters asked him, "Can you tell us about that? What plans you had for him?" He's like, "No, I'm not going to tell you what I had planned for him. But yeah, this is a little bit of a surprise for all of us. But it's understandable, seeing as Khabib he suffered major heartbreak. His father and trainer passed away of the coronavirus, and that hit him hard. We talked about this last week, how we didn't know if he was going to be in the right mindset when he went into this fight without his father in his corner. And but sure enough, he shined as he always does. He came out victorious, and he retires that way as well. He retires undefeated and as the champion, something many people something that's very rare in this sport. But he did an incredible job in the UFC. I mean, everybody wishes him, the best luck in his future. He actually said said that he made a promise, and it's a promise that he
his mom.
Yep, to his mom, and it's a promise that he must keep. So more than likely, we will not be ever seeing him again, which is a little bit sad because, as Jeremy and I, we talked about it over the weekend. This is a huge loss for MMA because he still had so much more to give. I mean, we all know this. When he did that, Twitter went crazy. Actually, starting off with Conor McGregor, his rival, major rival. You would expect Conor to actually, talk crap or anything. He actually did the opposite. He was very chill about it, and he went on to tweet, quote, "Good performance at Team Khabib. I will carry on. Respect and condolences on your father again also. To you and family. Yours sincerely, the McGregors." So that was really classy for Conor to go ahead and say something like that. Another person that would have wanted to fight Khabib, and this is a fight that both, again, Jeremy and I, we agreed would have been a great fight, is John Bones Jones. He went ahead and tweeted, quote, "I want to congratulate Khabib for an outstanding career. I know he made his father, along with millions of fans around the world, incredibly proud today. May God continue to bless him on his journey. Until I take that heavenly crown, I grant you the spot. Enjoy, champ." I mean, it was both of those were kind of backhanded compliments because, I mean, you have Conor saying, "I will carry on," and then you have John Bones saying, "Until I take that heavenly crown, I grant you the spot." Guys, really? First of all, one got submitted. The other one didn't even get a chance to. But we can both guarantee that that Khabib probably would have beat John Bones at this point in his career as well. So,
I'll tell you right now, if that fight happened, I would bet my home, my firstborn, and pretty much everything else on Khabib. I mean, I'm sorry. As I've said before, Jones has been out of commission for a while. I mean, I'm sure he's still been training, but we have not seen him fighting. He dealt with the multiple suspensions. The man is much, much older and has not been in the ring head to head in these type of fights. Khabib is amazing, and I believe John Jones would get put on the floor very quickly. I mean, as I said when we were talking over the weekend, I still don't know why nobody ever named Khabib the Anaconda. Because, I mean, the second that guy gets his hands on you and puts you on the floor, you're done.
He wrestled bears, for God's sake.
Yeah, you don't escape. I mean, the man is a beast, and I do not believe that a John Jones well past his prime would survive very long against a beast like Khabib.
Agreed. And I mean, and like I said before, I mean, Khabib wrestled bears. There's actually footage of him wrestling bears in his country.
No way.
You don't wrestle bears and think that you can't wrestle a human being to the ground and keep them down. I mean, come on. The guy, Khabib, was a freaking animal himself. There's no way you can stop him or get him off you. Once he's on you, good luck. There's just no way you're getting off. So, huge loss for the MMA community to lose such a great fighter like that, to retirement. And it's sad to see him go. But I mean, he gave us great memories. I mean, and wish him nothing but good luck. I mean, it's understandable, suffering that kind of a loss.
Yeah, if your heart's not in it, if your heart isn't in it, if you've done everything, I'm just a believer, your heart's kind of not in it anymore, then it's time to move on.
Yeah. And that's just the way it goes. And, we move on, and we'll go ahead and keep an eye out for the next Khabib, which I doubt there will be one for a while or even ever. But there's always new fighters coming up all the time. And, looking forward to see what the next generation holds for the UFC. In other sports news, the Dodgers. My God, what a roller coaster ride with those guys. Up and down, up and down, up and down. But this time they're up. This time they're actually up in the series, and it's all thanks to Clayton Kershaw. He basically he did it for the team, but it was a 4-2 victory against the Tampa Bay Rays last night, but the night before that, oh my God, that was just insane. And I was actually giving the play-by-play to Jeremy over the phone when I was watching this, and it was just a huge mishap and a huge mistake that the Dodgers made. They would have already been champions as of last night. If they would have beat Tampa Bay on Saturday and then beat them on Sunday, that's it. Dodgers would have been the next world champions already. But it was 2 mistakes that happened on Saturday that cost them that game. One of them was pretty much a hit that went down center field. The center fielder thought he had the ball in his glove, and it slipped out of his hand, or it bounced out of the tip of the his hands. And so he had to go after it, grab the ball, threw it. First run came in to go ahead and tie it. But then the next run that beat them by 1 point was the one that was so crazy. So the ball was thrown to the catcher's mitt. The catcher grabs it, swings around, and the ball flies out of the catcher's mitt enough that the runner on third was halfway. The runner on third even stumbled on his way to home plate. He stumbled, and then the moment he saw the ball fly out of the catcher's mitt, that was it. He ran for home, and that was game, and Tampa Bay won by 1 point because of that mishap. That was something that I was just like, you got to be kidding me. Why, Dodgers? Why would you screw that up? It was so simple, so easy. But apparently they redeemed themselves last night, and, with a 4-2 victory, it's at this point, they're leading right now in the series. Man, this is emotional for me, Jeremy. I mean, you're a Dodger fan. I mean, you have this thing about you that you feel that if you watch the games, you'll jinx them.
It's not that. It's I'm not a superstitious person. It's just I haven't seen a Dodger victory on TV in probably 3 years. Every time I turn it on, I'm not kidding, we've lost.
Wow.
So, and it's not that I I have no superstition in it. It's just I don't really want to sit through a 3-hour ball game at home just to watch them lose. I haven't seen a victory in a very long time. So
I have to rebuttal that a little bit, because it seems that not just watching it, but even listening to it, because I had you on the phone when they lost.
Well, and I'd like to point out I wasn't always bad luck. I wasn't. From the time I started going to Dodger games at the age of 5 years old, I didn't see them lose, and I went to 2 or 3 games a year at least every year. I did not witness the Dodgers lose until I was 12 years old. So I actually believed, probably until I was 7 or 8 years old, that I was the Dodger charm. That only seems to have changed later in life at the moment. But yeah. You forgot to mention one mistake that to me is an even bigger mistake than the 2 errors the Dodgers made.
Oh, once again, the management?
Yes, once again, I'm going to bring this back
pitcher?
to Dave Roberts. Roberts' incompetent managing of a bullpen. It's his biggest Achilles heel as a manager. It has cost us in the playoffs and in the World Series multiple times. He has a tendency to either not trust the guys who got him there, or to overly trust guys who, were great and aren't doing it right now. Okay. Kershaw has pitched great this postseason. What is the one blemish on his record this postseason? He had that one bad game, the championship series. One bad game. Why? Roberts chose to pitch him on slightly short rest when his back was not 100%. He was dealing with a lower back issue. Not performing up to his standards when he is either pitching injured or pitching on short rest. And yet, instead of trusting his bullpen or trusting one of our other young arms, he decided to push Kershaw into that slot, and Kershaw got hammered. Roberts has a problem managing a bullpen. And what's he do? We have Kenley Jansen, a pitcher who has completely lost confidence. You can see it in the way he approaches the mound, the way he approaches his pitches. He has lost confidence. You have a fastball pitcher who's throwing 4 to 5 miles an hour slower now. This is a pitcher whose bad games in the past always came when hitters could catch up to him. And now he's pitching slower and everybody's catching up to him. And yet Dave Roberts still insists in putting him in a one-run game. Are you insane?
Not to mention that was the game right there. That inning was the inning that he shouldn't have been put in. That close.
That's what I'm saying. You don't put him in that. If you had a 4-run lead and you want to get him in there to build his confidence, go for it. What are you putting in a pitcher who has lost it at the moment? Why are you putting him in the most pressure-filled, pressure-packed, razor-thin margin situation that you can possibly put him in? Why would you do that?
He walked and that's the thing, is that when I was watching it, he was, he, like you said, he didn't have the confidence in his eyes that he had a few years ago when he went up against Houston. And the thing is that, like, when I was watching him pitch, he was just like, it was like the types of pitches that were just like tired, they were tired pitches, to the point that the last pitch that made the batter walk, he threw it and it hit the home run plate and bounced into the pitcher's hands, or into the catcher's hands. I mean, that right there, at that point, that's when the management should have been like, all right, we're going to have to, get somebody else for the last pitch or for the final, because it was at that point, there was 1 out left. That's all. 1 out was the only one that was left to go ahead and close that game out and win the game. And they chose the wrong pitcher for that one. So let's hope that they've learned from that, because, I mean, the Dodgers still have to go up against them one last time. If they beat them this time, that's it. Dodgers are world champs.
Yeah, I hope they win tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. And that's going to be something that many of us are going to be watching. If not, we're going to go into Game 7. Who wants to go into Game 7? For the love of God, we just want this. It's like the elections. We just want it over with already. We really, really want this over with. So we'll go ahead and find out what happens next. Game 6 is coming up, and hopefully it'll be the final game, and the Dodgers will go ahead and move forward. Or Tampa Bay will pull one out, thanks to Dodger management, and we'll go into Game 7. That's still up in the air. We'll find out what happens then. Coming up next in video game news, looks like Pokemon's got the Sword and Shield's legendary birds that will roam like Gold and Silver's legendary dogs. We'll talk a little bit about that. But first, here's B. Taylor and Do Brown's It's On Me, right here on the Xander Effect.
Yo. That B. Taylor, I told you. Yeah, you did. They ain't believe it, though. One life. Do Brown. Same game, B. Taylor. What up? Woo! So we kick it like it's kickball. Power couple. She drippin' in that Dolce Gabbana. They wanna touch her. Everybody know that's Do Girl. What you gon' do by it? Me and her take on the world. Now that's a true rider. And she Beyonce. Y'all in her own class. Hella book smart. I be grabbing on her real life. Since it's on me, I'ma put it on you. Sippin' on the best of the best. We playin' taboo. Care City 305. I'm a dirty baby. Help you with your homework. Now we getting dirty, baby. Drinking dirty slippery, baby. Got a nigga tiptoeing. Cause I made the right moves. Got a nigga going. She be in my lap snoring. I should call you FaceTime. But I got respect for her. I'ma spy your face now. Never poke a big dog. We be hella outside. Never have a side to choose. Cause it's only one side. Step right up to the VIP. Yeah, the IP. VIP. Don't wait, cause tonight's on me. It's on me, baby, it's all on me. Yeah. Sexy models, champagne bottles. The IP, VIP. Got 2 models, need more bottles. I got a bottle and a model, go. Me and Do Brown make a lot of noise. Yeah, we them bad boys. All you ladies ain't got no damn choice. I said me and Do bad boys. A flow where them girls at. Yo shop where them girls at. D money where them girls at. I'm tryna party where them girls at. Cause after the party, it's the after party. After the party to my hotel lobby. After the lobby till 5 in the morning. It's just me and you. Cause there's only one side. Step right up to the VIP. Yeah, the IP, VIP. It's on me, baby, all on me, yeah.
Sexy models, champagne bottles.
Yeah, the IP, VIP.
Got 2 models, need more bottles.
Bottle when I'm out, got a bottle, there's only one side.
B. Taylor.
Yeah, the IP, VIP. It's on me, baby, all on me, yeah.
Hey, yo, what's up? This is the Xander Effect, and I am the DJ KID, the Kid Capri. Welcome to the place to be.
This is it. You're on the air. Nice.
The Pondhawks Fire Eyes right here on the Xander Effect. In video game news, looks like Pokemon's got a couple of characters that are going to be going in there. This coming via IGN.com by writer Jordan Oloman, basically saying, quote, the Galarian legendary birds from Pokemon Swords and Shields Crown Tundra expansion will roam like Pokemon Gold and Silver's legendary dogs. A Game Informer preview of the new DLC explains that some of the footage shown to press concerned a quest called, quote, a legendary tree of a legendary 3, in which Galarian Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno fight and then scatter across the Crown Tundra to be found by players as they explore the region. They realize, quote, they realize you're watching and they disperse to different parts of the Crown Tundra, the preview reads. So that's going to be really cool to go ahead and be walking around and finding these birds and then having to go like hunt them down. So that's going to be actually a really cool new DLC that Pokemon's going to have. And many of you out there, you know, make sure you be careful when you're walking. Don't get run over by a car or anything like that, because that has happened. Or you trip and fall. Have you played Pokemon Go, Lonni?
I have not, but I think he's so cute.
Well, which one is he? I mean, there's a bunch of Pokemon. You're talking what? You're talking about Pikachu?
Yeah, Pikachu is so cute.
Well, see, Lonni, that game you could actually play. You could download it on your phone, actually. And
okay,
you can play
I need to, guys.
Yeah, you could actually download it on your phone, and you could walk around and find Pokemon.
Okay.
It's actually really cool. It's actually a really cool game to do when you're walking around, when you're like around your city and everything like that. You'll find Pokemon on your phone. You just put it up, and you scan, like it's almost like you're using your video camera of your phone, and you scan the place, and suddenly you'll see a Pokemon just pop out of nowhere.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, so you should go ahead and try it out. It'll be a lot of fun for you. So, Jeremy, do you play Pokemon at all?
I never did, really. My youngest son was very much into the Pokemon cards and had quite a vast collection, but it was not something that I really got into. I did resist playing Pokemon Go when it came out, although I thought it was a great idea.
It is fun.
Getting kids out, getting them moving. Although, there were a lot of negatives as well that they didn't really think about. It's a geolocating type thing. You're sending a lot of kids and possibly underage people to a certain location. That's, an opportunity for predators. It's an opportunity and as you mentioned, we had somebody get run over by a car while looking at their phone trying to chase a Pokemon. So there's a certain level of common sense. I mean, I personally wouldn't just give my kid the phone and say, hey, go run around and go find whatever. I'd be out there with them, and
that's like literally saying go play on the freeway.
Basically. So it's a great idea, and I like people being more aware of the possible issues with it, being a little more cautious, but it's a great idea for getting kids out, getting them moving, not sitting on the couch so much. And what a fun little thing. You pop up all these rare different characters and stuff. And I mean, if collecting the cards was fun to these kids, how do you think it is seeing the actual characters on their phone? I mean, that's got to get them so jazzed.
Dude, I used to bartend at this comedy club in Burbank called Flappers. And Jeremy, you know this. And myself and a coworker of mine used to play Pokemon Go at Flappers. We used to find Pokemon in the kitchen. We would be back there. We're like, dude, you got that? Yeah, I got that too. Like on our break. And we were just like, oh my God, there's a Pokemon right there. Holy crap, it's in the kitchen. It's on the broiler. What the hell? Like we're like trying to catch them. And we got the kitchen staff looking at us like we're crazy. Like, what the hell are they doing? It's actually kind of fun, to be honest. But yeah, they pop up everywhere. It's crazy. But yeah, it's one of those things where you know if you're gonna play it, please be careful. In other video game news, obviously it's Halloween season. This week is Halloween, and we got a lot of scary DLCs coming out so far right now. Madden Ultimate Team has their new DLC, the most feared players that we talked about last week. Which, by the way, EA, I still have gripes with you, and that'll never go away apparently. Worst, by the way, Madden Ultimate Team, Madden 21. Worst game ever. Okay, so many glitches, so many technical problems. Oh my God, the list is just insane at how bad this game came out. This time, Jeremy, we've talked about this before, how developers are lazy. I think they actually fell asleep during the entire game, to be honest with you. It's that bad. So yeah, I'm not even gonna go there because it's
or do they design them, just throwing this out there, the way they say people design cars, because they know that people won't be happy with it, and it'll give them another reason to try to perfect it again. So therefore, it keeps you guys.
No, they're just lazy.
Yeah,
that's just the freaking plain answer. They're just lazy. Electronic Arts just doesn't care. They're just making a lot of money, and they don't care because they hold a monopoly on a lot of really cool games. So they really don't care. They know that one way or another, people are gonna buy their games. Which I pretty much started a hashtag boycott EA. Stop buying games from them, because maybe that'll go ahead and help make them make their games better, and maybe their customer service a little better, because they're horrible at that too. But that's something different. But there is a DLC going on right now with Grand Theft Auto. Not that many people play that one anymore. That one's kind of like dying out as well. But there is earn triple rewards by participating in the Halloween Bunker series and free mode events. There's also the Beast versus or earn double rewards playing adversary modes such as Beast versus Slasher, Come Out to Play, Condemned, Lost versus Damned, Slashers. There's a lot of other stuff going on right now in GTA. This time of year is actually kind of fun. Because in GTA, when you're like roaming around the city of San Andreas or of Los Santos or or just the entire map or whatever, you randomly turn into a werewolf. It's really freaking cool. Like, you don't know who's going to turn into a werewolf. It's one of the random players throughout the map. Suddenly, you start getting like this feeling out of nowhere, and you just like transform into this werewolf. And when you transform into the werewolf, the other players have to hunt you down. Like, they all are going after you. Like, the entire list of players that are on that map are all searching and hunting for you. Your job is to avoid them as much as possible. It's like a game of tag, and it's crazy because you're just like running around the entire map trying to avoid getting killed by other players.
Dude, that's a fun little addition.
It is. It's really cool,
especially with it being random.
Yeah, it's just it's such a that's one of the like really cool parts I love about GTA this time of year because of that. That's actually a lot of fun, and it's hard to kill you too when you're the werewolf. It's not easy. You can't just a couple of shots and you're dead like you usually. No, it really takes some time for you to kill this werewolf, and you get to like the werewolf has like special powers that you get to jump really high and fast. So you have to like seriously have to find this guy. And the other really cool part is that when you are the werewolf, you could sneak into different places and just kind of hide, and the people are like looking for you, and the sensor goes off on your controller. It starts vibrating when you get closer to the werewolf, and you could hear it too. You can hear the growling. So you're like, where is this guy? It like freaks you out a little bit because you're like, where is this guy? So it's a really cool little addition that they have right around now. So definitely go ahead and check out GTA. Also, another one that has a Halloween special going on is Red Dead Redemption. They have a couple of really cool Halloween themes going on Red Dead Redemption as well. There's the Halloween. They have the Halloween season pack or whatever. So that one costs like 15 gold bars or something like that, which you could buy for like $10 or something like that. So they give you weapons, they give you a couple of masks, or you have to earn them or something like that. It's really cool. It's a really cool little addition for Red Dead Redemption as well. So
for anybody who's still playing it, Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Skyrim has actually released a pretty cool little Halloween pack as well this year, DLC, adding new vampiric followers, new undead crypts, as well as new roaming zombie packs throughout the land.
Nice. I like that. Yeah, and also Call of Duty. Call of Duty has this. Oh my God, dude! This is such a cool thing. On Call of Duty Warzone, they have this zombie mode where basically you're dropped into the city of Verdansk, and there are zombies running around. And if you get killed by another player, you turn into a zombie, and you come back. And when you fall, you have this crazy jump ability that launches you from one end to the other. Like while you're running, you jump like 4 miles away. It's really cool. And the only way you could turn back is by killing another player and injecting yourself with the antidote to turning into human again. So that's another really cool thing, that they make you a zombie, which is really awesome. But yeah, definitely check out. There's a lot of Halloween DLCs out right now. Go ahead and check those out. That's the news in case you haven't heard it. Thank you so much for listening to the Xander Effect as always. And as always, thank you so much to my co-host for joining me here today. First off, I'd like to thank Mr. Jeremy Miller. Yay.
Woohoo! Yay!
You sound like you had so much fun today. So sincere.
I always have fun talking to Lonni. I put up with.
Nice. The feeling is more than mutual. And speaking of our other lovely co-host, Ms. Lonni Rivera, thank you so much, Lonni, for joining us again today.
Hey, it was fun. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. We'll go ahead and look forward to having you again next time.
Yeah.
And as always, everybody, we're still in a pandemic right now, so make sure you continue to wear your gloves, wear your goggles if you got them, your masks. Definitely wear your masks, and make sure you look after each other. Practice basic hygiene. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Make sure you watch yourself, for not just yourself, but for your loved ones as well. And remember, there's only a week left before we actually before elections is over. So make sure you go out and vote. Your vote does matter. Your vote does count. I mean, it's very important that we make the right decisions during this voting process make sure you get to vote out there. Although there have been a lot of people that have already voted, mail-in ballots, everything's already been in. Early voting has already happened, and many people have already voted, but we still need the rest to continue to go forward. Educate yourself on the issues. Make sure you understand everything that's going on, those of you that are undecided, but make sure you get your vote. Make sure you get out there and you exercise that right that you have for being a citizen of this beautiful country of ours, and make sure you get out there and vote. And remember, music always heals all. We'll see you next time.
Yo, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was like open them up. Sure that she's talking and open them up. If it says something, we're going it out. And then there's something it out. And then it's got it, it's part of it, something we got it. Something that that's what we got it. And then we done it, we go loud. And then say something, we open them out.
The Xander Effect is powered by 50/50 Global Music Inc., Sony Music The Orchard, and BMG Bertelsmann. In association with Art 19 Media.